What is up? I'm NYJohn here with the grand finals of the Dota 2 Canada tournament presented by Dota2.ca. And here we go. What happened versus We Are No Dendy. Both teams, we saw them play once in the winner's bracket final. WAND, aka We Are No Dendy, have fought their way back to the grand finals, which will be a best of 3. And we'll end up seeing who's going to be the grand victor of it all. And we do see bans coming out already. Nyx Assassin taken out. We haven't seen him at all today. Magnus and Batrider, two other heroes that have been banned in every game. So these three heroes we have not seen throughout the course of the day. The fourth ban has varied though. So we'll see. Undying is one of the likely choices. However, Lone Druid has been integrated into that banning spot, as well as potentially a hero like Darkseer, Keeper of the Light. There's a lot of different options we could see come out here. And I want to just say, in the first game around, what happened ended up getting Night Stalker. They got Bounty Hunter, and they got, I believe it was Sven in their top 3 picks. And they had a really aggressive outlook. Sven was deprived of farm throughout the entirety of the early game. And then what happened was Night Stalker in the middle lane, plus Bounty Hunter from the off lane, were able to create so much havoc and win the other lanes so easily that they had to move a support from the tri lane, which WAND was winning, and essentially open up the game for them. So that's how what happened won the first time around. This time we'll see if WAND are going to act differently. Maybe we won't see an aggressive tri lane. Maybe we will see different heroes in it. But one thing is certain, WAND love Keeper of the Light, and Keeper of the Light has been selected with the first pick. Interesting to note, TA was the 4th ban. So TA here we don't see get banned all too often any longer. Is actually taken out there. And now that frees up some extra choices for what happened in terms of those really strong heroes. We may see Undying and Darkseer come out here. That could be a 1-2 punch that could really be powerful in any game. But Keeper of Light is one of their favorite heroes, I'd assume. I've seen Wince play him a couple times already, and he does play him very effectively. This hero has so much control over any given lane with the Illuminates and with eventually the Drain Chakra, and overall the powerful ultimate that Keeper of the Light, you can't really go wrong with selecting up this support hero. He's not going to lose you games. He's only going to win you games. We do see a response from what happened is going to be first pick Bounty Hunter for them, and now they're going to be able to add one more on the back end of that. It could be Undying, it could be Darkseer. It is going to be a Lone Druid though. So Lone Druid, a hero we've seen played a lot today, a hero that is obviously absurdly powerful, so tough to take down once you get into that ultimate. We've seen him bait out a lot of kills throughout the course of the day. Definitely a warranted pick at this stage of the selection process. Meanwhile, WAND go ahead, they pick up the Undying, who had made it through, and now with their 3rd selection, curious to see what they're going to go for here. Sometimes they have favored that Queen of Pain, and we saw Nova last game play a magnificent Queen of Pain. It took over the game from start to finish, and here we go. It's going to be a Queen of Pain pick. So probably going to see another Nova Queen of Pain, and I'm excited to see that. I mean, if it goes anything like the last game, then what happened may be in trouble. However, what happened, I think I may have noticed that they were watching the stream, so they might know what's coming at them. And that being said, Tinker, it's one of those matches where if it goes a little bit wrong, it goes a lot of it wrong. So Queen of Pain took full advantage of that. Tinker played very well. Let's see what happened can put up against this Quap to try and cope with it. Of course, plenty of options. A lot of heroes match up pretty decently against Queen of Pain in the middle lane. So not really narrowing the pool quite yet for what happened, what they can put in the middle lane. Now, 3rd pick coming out for what happened, and they already have their Lone Druid and Bounty Hunter. They're going to take up a Tinker here. So they actually do go for Tinker again. Tinker, this is more of what I had expected to see last time around. Tinker works very well, of course, in conjunction with a hero like Lone Druid, who has that spear pair that Tinker can TP to once he has the Boots of Travel. However, the problem in the last game was getting those Boots of Travel. This game, we'll see, Tinker might get a little bit more support, might get a little bit more rune help. Queen of Pain had full reign of the map, full control, whatever she wanted, it was hers. Really treated like the queen she's named after. And a couple bans are flying out instantly. Nyx, Tidehunter taken out by the Dire side. The Radiant side take out Rubik and Shadow Demon. And now we're waiting on the final ban from the Radiant We Are No Dendy. Their 5th and final ban, and it looks like they're just going to try and take out some more supports. Or taking out Rubik, Shadow Demon, maybe Alina here wouldn't be a bad option. They could also go for, they're going to take out Disruptor. So Disruptor, a hero that is very chaotic and tough to deal with, throwing down the kinetic field as well as static storm. Any kind of silences against heroes like Queen of Pain, Keeper Light can be very frustrating and really go a long way in terms of preventing their effectiveness. Now we're going to see the final ban come out from What Happened. They're looking to take out probably another carry here. They've taken out Nikes. Sven is still in the pool. That's a decent option for them. Sven, Keeper Light, Undying, Tri-Lane would be very aggressive and very powerful. They could probably put that in the long lane if they wanted to. So if they take him out, might force them into something like a Juggernaut, a hero that is strong early game but not quite as powerful as Sven. So we'll see. I think that would be one of the warranted bans. We're going to drop into the extra time, 20 seconds left for What Happened, and it will be Phantom Lancer. So a big ban on the PL. Here we see occasionally, and definitely if he gets his farm and gets to the late game, one of the strongest. The question is, can he get there? And now we see Luna picked up instantly by Juan, so they're going to go for Luna as their carry. That means they need one more, a long laner perhaps, to round up this game. And if they're going to try and go aggressive Tri-Lane, which it looks like they may with that Undying, they can pick perhaps a little bit more risky long laner since they'll put him in the safe lane anyway. Meanwhile, for What Happened, their fourth pick, they're going to pick up Enigma. So nice jungler to take up. And now final picks. Wand. I believe to win this tournament, they have to win this best of 3. And then another best of 3 on the back end of it. They're going to pick a Faceless Void. And once again, want to have me scratching my head. Faceless Void, Luna, and Queen of Pain. That's a lot of farm they need. Luna looks like she's poised to solo the short lane by herself. Faceless Void going to be a part of the tri-lane maybe? I mean, we'll have to wait to see exactly how the lanes line up. But this definitely an indication of aggressive tri-lane. So now knowing that, What Happened can try and get themselves ready for that. It looks like they're going to try and put maybe Lone Druid or Bounty Hunter in that safe lane, but they have to know that they're up against 3 enemy heroes and do their best to try and make the most out of that. So their final pick, they're going to dip into their extra time. Only 9 seconds left, so we're going to see this hero selection soon. Enigma, Tinker, Lone Druid, Bounty Hunter, and Jakiro. So they pick a nice, solid support. And Jakiro with that long range may be able to cope with the tri-lane a little bit better than some other supports. And let's go ahead and check out who is playing what for each team. So for the Dire team, we have team, excuse me, What Happened. Richard on Tinker, John the Ninja on Lone Druid, Fangirl on Enigma, Frosting Cake on Bounty Hunter, and that leaves Bareth on Jakiro. Meanwhile, for our Radiant team, Team Wand, we are no Dendi. We have Liquidity on Undying. We have Wince on Keeper of the Light like he's been on all day. We have Miso Soup on Luna. Nova playing that Queen of Pain, pretty predictable. And we have 007 on Faceless Void. And it looks like there's a little bit of banter coming out in the team chat. There's I don't even know what's going on from the Dire side. They've placed a ward in front of their well. So perhaps intentional or not, it seems like a little bit of a blunder. And now only 1 ward left on Lone Druid. So a very interesting approach coming out from the Dire side. As they're noting in chat, they did use 2 couriers last game. That was Team Wand, but this time a ward. I mean, perhaps they needed some extra vision out there. But it looks like middle lane they're going to get a deny from Enigma onto the wave. Richard's going to be soloing this up against the Queen of Pain, and of course that matchup went very much so in favor of Nova in the last game. We'll see what Richard can do this time around, and the aggressive tri-lane is poised to strike the top. It will be up against Jakiro and Bounty Hunter. So Bounty Hunter going to be a little bit more safe, I suppose. And that leaves Lone Druid solo in the long lane against a solo Faceless Void. So Lone Druid poised to do pretty well down here. He's going to go ahead and just pull the creeps out. And there's not much Lone Druid, Faceless Void rather, can do about this except for try and block them off to stop it from happening. But even so, I think Lone Druid's just being a little cautious, making sure the support's on there because he can easily go head-to-head in this lane. And we will see that happen momentarily here. So heading over to the top lane, it looks like Bounty Hunter's trying to poke his head in, get some experience, but DD on Wint, he's going to provide some auto attack damage onto that BH. They don't have any invis detection early in this game. Usually in the long lane, you don't provide yourself with sentries, especially when you don't know exactly how the other team is going to set up their lanes. Perhaps Lone Druid in this long lane is going to have a really good time. He should be getting essentially free farm. Faceless Void will get close to free farm, but I don't think he'll get exactly as much as Lone Druid will, since he can provide a lot of pressure onto him, especially once that ensnare comes up. Top lane, we do see Bounty Hunter taking some extra damage as he gets hit by a decay, and some other hits here and there. Jakiro's actually rotating down towards the bottom. He has a level 1 Ice Path. He's going to come in here and look for a gank, and it looks like he's managed to walk through and not get hit by any ward vision. There's a ping that indicates they might think he's in the jungle as well. Curious to see how they're going to try and execute this. He actually doesn't have a blink, so Faceless Void may get caught out here. He opts not to use the Ice Path, and instead, now Jakiro is just on the bottom lane. He's going to act here as a support, I suppose, and top lane will be a solo effort from Bounty Hunter. Under the tower, they do hit him with the Ice Path. John the Ninja, though, going to take some tower hits here, and he has to try and get the tower aggression off of him. In fact, he's going to take an abundance of damage that he didn't necessarily have to take. We do see an instant support rotation from Wint, so Wint is not going to let this fly for very long as he makes his way down to the bottom lane. It does make the top lane a little bit more bearable for Bounty Hunter, though, and Frost and Cake, last game we saw him on Bounty Hunter, played really strong, and hopefully we'll get to see a repeat effort. Some nice plays come out from him again. Tinker in the middle lane, he now has 600 gold, so if he wants to purchase up that bottle, he's well on his way to getting that. John the Ninja, looks like he's going to build up his Tranquil Boots first. Pretty standard approach. Faceless Void, 500 gold in the bank. Curious to see if he goes for perhaps something like a Midas early on in this game. Bear's going to continue to just apply pressure. And John the Ninja's going to take a lot of damage. He walks in, a missed micro. John the Ninja's going to drop to an Illuminate Blast here. And First Blood flies out. A huge error. Now Barrett is going to pay for it as well as he tries to save his carry. And he will go down. And I wonder if he disconnected or just missed the micro, but that was clearly a huge mistake. He thought he was controlling the bear. He was controlling the hero, walked into harm's way, and they give up 2 kills in an instant like that. And now this bottom lane has swung hugely in favor of the Radiant team, and they're probably winning 3 lanes. They see Richard get blinked on with a scream as well. Queen of Pain needs that bottle that's coming out to her momentarily, provided her with that extra bit of regen. In fact, the regen rune is in the bottom spot, so she can go ahead, grab that, and then take the bottle. No order precedence. Actually, she can drink the bottle first. I'm an idiot. Whoops. And here we go. Back to the bottom lane. So now Lone Druid level 3 against level 5 Faceless Void, level 4 Keeper of the Light. And this is going to be increasingly difficult for him to stand against. And all because of that one death. And I think Jakiro may as well rotate back towards the top lane and make that a little bit more bearable for Bounty Hunter, because there's not going to be much he can do here, save try and prevent full-on kill attempts onto Lone Druid. But once Lone Druid gets 6, even with a Chronosphere, it's going to be pretty tough to take him down. However, Chronosphere does work well with those huge Illuminates coming out. Allows him to get the max duration blast off. So maybe they do have enough damage, but the primary concern for Lone Druid has to be getting level 6 right now, as we're going to see Illuminate blast off. It will hit Barrett, takes him down to around 2/3 health in one blast. Faceless Void now going to get hit by an Ice Path. He's going to turn around and just jump on top of this Jakiro. Jakiro taking a lot of damage, but they're giving a lot of damage back at him. And Faceless Void may drop in the middle of this. He hasn't used his blink yet, though, and now he's going to blink away. The Bear thinking about pursuing, but instead they're going to turn on to Keeper of Light, but he's not level 5 yet, so there's no ensnare possibility on the Spirit Bear. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Luna's able to take down Bounty Hunter. And a nice kill on the top lane, dropping down a sentry early on from this Undying. Middle lane, Queen of Pain takes down Tinker. And wow, 3 kills in quick succession for the Radiant team. And Nova, once again, just dominating Tinker's middle lane. I mean, someone has to put out a notice. You cannot put a Tinker against this player. He just handles them, especially with the Quap. And now 007 is about to hit level 6. We'll have a Chronosphere. They bring down a 3rd hero. It's a level 4 Bounty Hunter, and they're going to try and go for a gank here, probably on Wint. And here it goes. It's very obvious as they're charging up, and Wint is actually going to be taken down here. So a nice little kill there for Frost and Cake as well as Baroth. They're going to turn and jump on Faceless Void a little bit as well. He's still at half health, still has Blink available, so he'll be just fine. Meanwhile, top lane is being, for all intents and purposes, sacked, as the tower can potentially take some pressure here. Luna level 4, about to hit level 5, is getting free farm, 33 for 14. She's leading the way outside of the jungler. And Nova's going to take a good amount of damage. This tower hit's going to take him. He has to pop off the salve just to stay alive. So close call there for Queen of Pain. Frosting Cake actually going to pursue and look for him, but I don't think he's going to ever look back. He's going to head right back to the well and regen up. So this gives Tinker some extra space to try and get some farm going. Enigma does have his soul ring up, but not much more. It's only 6 minutes into the game. He does have boots actually as well. And there's a nice little rune for Tinker. So Enigma's presence in the middle affords some space for Tinker. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they're trying to go on top of Faceless Void. He is hit by a fire dot, but it looks like he'll barely survive with 20 health. Queen of Pain's actually going to TP down here, jump on John the Ninja and take him down. Barrett now has to go on full retreat. 2 more hits will do the job, and down he goes. So Nova picking up a pair of kills yet again. I mean, I'm having flashbacks to the last game we saw where Queen of Pain is just going to run train all over the map. I'm a little bit concerned for what happens. And Frosting Cake is invisible right here. We'll see Nova, but I doubt he'll try and do anything. He doesn't have Invis for 7 more seconds, so he can't even put some harass damage on him. Now he'll make his way back to the middle lane. Queen of Pain's just going to jump on him. She doesn't care. Does she have a Sonic Wave available? No. So she'll have to back up. In fact, Frosting Cake's going to hit him with that Janata Strike. And now Rockets will fly out. And the Shuriken's enough to take him down. Frosting Cake there at the best time, being a true opportunist and taking full advantage of Queen of Pain's over-aggression. And that's probably one place where you can catch Nova. He's very aggressive. So, you know, if you can get him on the back end of a blink, then that's your best opportunity. Otherwise, he's going to just roll. Luna, meanwhile, able to get the tower top lane. So 1 tower down in favor of the Radiant side. 3 heroes have made their way to the bottom lane to track up Faceless Void. Maybe looking for an ultimate here. He can go in and pop it, and here it comes. It's going to come out momentarily. I assume he can get both now. He decides not to use it. So John the Ninja will survive for the time being, and now he gets it. He does hit Bolt, so Barrett's stuck in it as well. And the bear does go ahead and ensnare him, and he decides to turn around and attack the bear. And perhaps a misplay by Faceless Void, but the Ice Path misses as well. And Faceless Void will make it out of there safely. And there is a tombstone down, so they have to be a little bit careful. They know that Undying could be in the area, but it looks like they had decided to chase off Bounty Hunter instead of stay with the Chronosphere. So some awkward miscues here and there, and everyone will stay alive. And the Radiance Courier dies. Oh no. And now Nova's going to jump forward, put some extra damage onto Richard, but Richard returns the favor, dealing some damage back to them. And I have no idea where the Radiant Courier died, but it is certainly dead. And Misu Suip runs into the middle lane with a Lucent Beam, hits on Richard, takes him down to around 350 health or so. And now he's hiding under the tower. Frosting Cake's in the area. So they have to be a little bit cautious. They're going for a dive. Meanwhile, bottom lane is being pushed out. We have Faceless Void as well as Undying here. John the Ninja does get level 6, so he goes into that bear form, and he'll continue to try and do the best to farm. Let's go ahead and go back to our last hits. We see John the Ninja at 27 for 4. So doing decently, but not as well as you would have expected the way things started off. I think perhaps the support adjustment from them that warranted a support adjustment from the other team probably hurt them more than it helped them. So questionable play from what happened, and that may come back to bite them in the long run. That being said, I mentioned before, I believe for Wand, who came from the loser bracket to win, they have to win 2 best of 3s. So it's a long path. This would be a starting point if they can continue to play like they are right now. Nova leading the way, 3-1. Also has good CS on the back end of it, 36 for 6. We do see Tinker going to spam off March and Machines, which he has maxed up. So level 4 on those March. And we know the damage March can deal, especially in big team fights, as well as the pushing effect it has. It will take down waves and allow for less contention on towers. Middle lane, they're trying to find an opening on Nova, but they don't really have that many disables. They're going to have a Malphite stun coming in from a smoked Enigma. He's actually better off probably going for the black hole. And that may be his intention. Instead, from the back end, though, they're going to get spotted off by a Luna. Luna decides to ping on them, and she's going to be pursued a little bit. Malphite stun will hit on her. Frosting Cake's going to back up a little bit. Ultimate popped by our Coddle, and up to the high ground. Nova's able to take down Bounty Hunter with a scream. And now Fangirl's just going to have to TP out of here. Cannot risk that death. And a gank attempt just gone wrong. Good warding. Had spotted off Enigma once the dust had been popped by Luna from the river, and they were able to capitalize on it Bottom lane, meanwhile, we see the Bear continues to try and apply pressure onto Faceless Void. He has an ultimate available, so he'll consider using that in the near future. We see rotation. Richard's going to head towards the bottom rune. He does have 1,800 gold in the bank, so he's well on his way to those boots of travel, which it's been set back because of the one death, but he's still doing a good job at 45 for 8 in terms of CS. That's pretty solid. This Bear's going to take a good amount of damage here from 007. Ice Path's going to fly out. It actually catches 007 as he jumps into the path of it, and that's going to be that. Jakiro getting some levels. So the one positive part of the rotation is that Jakiro has gotten more levels. Misu Suop is going to be pursued now. They're going to go ahead and pop the black hole on him, and that should be enough to take him down, and it is. The kill goes to Enigma, and a nice little pick off there for the Dire team that very much so needed it. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, though, Nova is going to try and finish off Richard. 2 more attacks would do the job. However, the misses come out from the laser, and Nova, even though dropping the Sonic Wave, was not able to convert a kill onto Richard. So well played by Richard to time that laser so that he would just narrowly escape. And now it looks like John the Ninja is bottom lane, and there's his Bear. Not sure where it went, but it's back. And his farm is really struggling. We can see 30 for 4, so he is a long shot away from heroes like Luna, like Queen of Pain, even behind Faceless Void. Not quite by that big of margin, but still behind. And now we do see Nova TP back to the middle lane. He's not going for a dag in this game. He takes this one a little bit more seriously, picks up an Ogre Club early on. Probably going to be towards that BKB. Meanwhile, rotation towards the bottom, spotted out by a Sentry Ward. Bounty Hunter may be in trouble down here. Everyone's going to back up. I don't think they have any more invis detection, or do they? Looks like, nope, they don't. So they know Bounty Hunter's down here, and that's enough for them to back up. Meanwhile, top lane, Richard with those boots of travel is going to start getting some more farm as he's able to move more readily around the map. There's a ping on top of Luna, who is up there with him. Rocket flies off. Hits her decently. Luna does have drums as well as Ring of Akil and Tranquil boots up. In the area is also Enigma, who's working towards a mech. In fact, has a mech completed once the courier can fly out to her. Middle lane, Jakiro trying to fend off the aggression on this tower by his lonesome, and how lonely that will be if Queen of Pain decides to go on him. In fact, actually, Frosting Cake is here. Ice Path flies, but it's not enough to make anything of it. Now, Bounty Hunter has to be careful. If he steps into vision of the Sentry again, perhaps an opportunity for Nova to jump on him and go for the kill. Bottom lane, it looks like he's being pushed a little bit more. Chronosphere is still available. Hasn't used it since that initial use, I don't believe. Bottom lane might get, top lane might get dove here. Richard's going to go under the tower. Marshall she's dealing a lot of damage to Luna, and Luna's going to get hit here by Frosting Cake, but he gets taken down by the Eclipse first. Rockets is enough to finish off Luna, but Tinker loses his life as well, and an all lopsided 2-for-1 trade in favor of the Radiant on a dive from the Dire. Meanwhile, middle lane Jakiro does get taken out by Queen of Pain by herself, and you had to see that one coming. I mean, Jakiro, even though he does have good base strength, cannot stand in there with Quap, especially when Quap has such a high level advantage, sitting at 11 against what Jakiro must be 7, yeah. And now we see Illuminate fly off on the bottom as they bring the lane forward a little bit more. Keeper Light has to be careful. I think he saw the TP come in, so he'll drop down a Sentry. We'll spot off Frosting Cake as he charges forward. And that means they have some space. They're going to push the middle lane instead of worrying about this bottom lane all too much. Enigma with his newly acquired mech is going to rotate in, but he decides better of it. Black Hole is available if need be. Top lane, there are 2 heroes up here. Luna's farming, and Undying is making sure that she has a safe time farming. It looks like Luna's going to go for Helm of the Dominator next. And Invisible Nova is rotating into the lane. They may have caught a glimpse of him. Those Eidolons got stopped a little bit in their path. Nova is sitting directly on top of Baroth, but he will notice. Oh, we're going to get hit by an Ice Path actually first. And Richard comes in as well. Ultimate popped off by Void. It catches all three. Sonic Wave flies off and hits all three. Richard's in trouble, and it's a three-man kill on a perfect setup. And into the Sentry walks Frosting Cake, and he goes down as well. 4 dead for the Dire team. The Radiant taking full advantage of great team fight coordination and runes. And now they'll get a tier 1 off the back end of it. Meanwhile, Lone Druid's going to do the best he can to push this bottom tier 1 tower, but he's not going to be able to take it down in time. They may get a tier 2 on the middle as well. Huge plays by both Nova and 007. A brilliant Chronosphere leads to a Sonic Wave that maximizes damage. And wow, this game is just getting out of hand in favor of Wand rather quickly. 15-4 is the kill lead. And I'm not sure, I mean, what have the travels on Tinker. So that's going to be one of the keys, is making some space, buying some opportunities for Lone Druid to farm. But at the same time, they're going to need to try and get some pickoffs with Bounty Hunter, get some track gold. I mentioned in the last game, if anyone was watching throughout that, when you see a lot of teams try and push aggressively and lose those team exchange, if they do so against a hero like Bounty Hunter, it's really beneficial for the team defending. So there's opportunities for what happens to get back into it. It's a matter of them executing perhaps a little bit better than what they've been doing thus far. Now Frosting Cake's going to go ahead and try and take out this Satyr that is stacking the Ancients when it has a chance, but it won't be able to. Ancients disgruntled will go ahead and take down that illusion, and now Nova will ruin any chance of the stack there, but probably wasn't going to happen anyway. And we see Lone Druid has spent money, so we decided to buy a phase. So this is probably an indication that he's going to go ahead and not go for the Radiance this time around. That's probably one of the safer ideas. Sentry's dropped right on the face of Bounty Hunter as he gets spotted out there. And also, as mentioning, when you fall behind in farm, it becomes much more urgent, especially where they are in this stage of the game. We'll probably see a Maelstrom adjustment into an Assault Cuirass or something along the lines of that. But definitely warranted decision and alternative for Lone Druid. Meanwhile, Bounty Hunter, 250 gold. All he has is an Orb of Venom and Phase Boots and a Magic Wand. It's a struggle to find some farm across the map. I mean, he's letting whatever CS go to Enigma. He's letting it go to Lone Druid and Tinker. So there's not an abundance of farm to be shared, especially on a map that keeps shrinking against your favor. Top lane, we see Tinker's going to TP in here. Rockets will fly. Deal a little bit of damage to Luna. Nothing too good. I want to thank everyone that's watching. I'm NYJohn. This is Dota 2 Canadian Tournament presented by Dota2.ca. I want to thank Dota2.ca for letting me cast this. A hero for letting me know about it and talking to the admins for me. So shout out to everybody, and everyone that's been viewing, of course. I appreciate that as well. We're in the middle of the Grand Finals, Game 1, and Wand, coming from the losers bracket, have a long way to go to take this back, but well underway as they take down the tower in the bottom lane. Faceless Void, 400 gold away from finishing off his Battle Fury. Nova has a completed BKB, and he'll continue to farm. Maybe go towards the sheep next. We see Frosting Cake is still struggling to find any opportunities. Enigma purchases up an Ogre Club, so going towards a BKB of her own, potentially. Jakiro doing the complete support duty. 1,000 more gold on Lone Druid. Meanwhile, Undying does have Arcanes as well as a Cloak up, but now he's going to purchase some wards. Luna's farm, Drums, Helma Dominator, as well as Tranquils and Aquila. So not too bad for Luna. However, it's not the greatest farm we've seen either. She has 102 CS against 15 for 19 minutes, leading the way outside of the jungler. So pretty solid effort. And of course, Luna has 2 deaths already. So she has the most deaths on her team, been focused down pretty heavily. One of those instances, they sacrificed 2 heroes to get that kill. So that's one of those things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet when you look at the individual deaths. Luna will get tracked up here by Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter throws his shuriken out for fun as well. He's pretty low on health, so it looks like he took some punish just to get that off. When 007 is going to jump on top of John the Ninja, do some auto attack damage. He does have his Battle Fury completed, so he's going to farm at an accelerated rate now. Expect to see some more stacks. So Luna's already been stacking the Ancients, maybe for herself, maybe for Faceless Void, whoever they deem necessary. Already has 1,800 more gold. So probably going to see a Maelstrom come out next on Faceless Void, something along those lines. Could very well be Mask of Madness as well. Wince and Liquidity just roaming around this middle lane. Nova, 1,800 more gold in the bag for him. He's 7-1-4, having a monster of a game again. And I mean, what more can you say about this guy? He really is just owning it up right now. I'm going to see Luna forced out of that top lane. Has to TP back to the middle. Go ahead. She'll probably farm the Ancients in a moment. Yeah, and here we go. So Luna's going to go for the Ancients after pulling them out a little bit. In the jungle, Frosted Cake looking for someone to jump on. 007's behind the trees. He pops the invis again. So perhaps an opportunity to try and pick somebody off here if they can get a lucky ensnare with the bear. John the Ninja actually changing back and changing back again as he missed his human form. Happens fairly often. Middle lane. Tinker continues to farm. Let's check out Tinker. We haven't seen him in a while. He has 2,000 gold. So this is the point of the game where you decide if you're going for the Force Staff or if you're going to opt for perhaps a Blink. Those items are very crucial on Tinker. I think Force Staff probably going to be one of the better options. So we'll probably see that come out first. And Richard's just going to silently keep going about his business. If there's a team fight, he can make his way there. He can TP into the Spirit Bear. But otherwise, he's just going to continue to farm. And he's farming pretty well. 109 for 9. And this is a Tinker that was beaten in lane by Nova. He got a kill on him early. And he's just doing the best he can to make his way back in. And for all intents and purposes, he's caught up. He has a good amount of farm on him. The rest of his team, not as much. But Tinker is going to do a lot in terms of being able to split off the effort, make it hard for the Radiant team to team fight them. And they're getting to that point where that's what they want to do because Void's getting bigger. Luna's getting bigger. Everyone, all the keys are in place. But, you know, Tinker with the stacks of March as well as the fact that he can be in any lane causing some chaos, it's going to make it more difficult. So we'll see what they can do to try and cope with that. And it really has slowed down a little bit here. 16-4 is the kill lead in favor of Wand over what happened. And we saw a lot of action early on in the game. But now both teams are going to act a little bit more conservatively. Richard from the jungle is going to pop off a double march. It'll deal a good amount of damage to 007. He's going to turn around and actually look for Richard. Richard is well hidden, but eats through a tree and spots him off. And he pops off the Chronosphere. And just as I mentioned, the conservative nature of the play, 007 catches off Tinker and gets a big kill there on him. And now Frosted Cake wants to get a rebuttal for his teammate. He's going to pop off the track. Shuriken Toss gets rewound, though, or backtracked, excuse me. And as such, Faceless Void will be able to escape. He needed to save that for the TP, probably. Bottom lane, though, Undying is able to get a kill on Lone Druid with the help of Nova, Wince, and Miso Soup. And they're going to move towards perhaps this tier 2 down here. And this is an opening with 2 heroes down for them to push pretty aggressively. And whenever Tinker gets picked off like that, it really does slow down his progress, even more so than other heroes. It's kind of similar to that of a hero like Nature's Prophet in that regard. So this tower is going to take a lot of pressure in the middle lane. Enigma's going to try and get a trade out of it. Pops off some Eidolons, applies some pressure on this tier 1. However, we do see Faceless Void's making his way in there. The tower's put into deny range, and it will get finished off by the Eidolons, but Enigma will lose his life for it. Pops off the mech, is trying to barely survive, but I don't think there's any way he's making it out of here alive. Lucent Beam will fly in 1 second. They don't, yep, down he goes. So nice kill there for Luna, but he does sacrifice himself for a full tower kill. So not the worst trade. BKB recipe is on the courier. He's about 600, 700. Oh, my math is bad today. 800 gold away from finishing off that entire BKB. Forgive me. Rich is going to pop off a couple of marches, and this is what I'm talking about, making it hard for them to push aggressively. We just see John the Ninja going to get an ensnare. He did opt for that Maelstrom that I mentioned before. Liquidity taking a little bit of damage from the bear there. Illuminate flies in. Hits relatively hard. TP comes in from Richard. Blink in from 007 and catches 2. John the Ninja and Richard in the middle of it. Eclipse has popped on the back end of it. Sonic Wave! And 2 are dead instantly. Buyback comes out from Tinker. He needs to make his way back into this. The Tombstone was dropped as well. This tower is going down, and they're afraid for their Rax's safety, as rockets will fly, and Marches are going to come off as well. And knowing that the Chronosphere is down, it's going to be much more difficult for Juan to push. But what perfect execution they had there. Now they're still going to pursue. Nonetheless, they're going to move into the base. As someone pops off a drum charge. They're working on this tower, and the tower with no glyph available is going down rather quickly. And they're going to lose a base tower here. In fact, they're going to work on a Rax, but in comes Fangirl. Going to use a black hole, just walks in, uses it on 4. Can they make something of it? Richard's coming in. They try and take down 007. He's able to blink out of the base. Miso Suep's going to be the next target. He's going to die first. Can they take down another? Winston's trying to retreat. He gives himself some mana. Frosting Cake turns around. Can he get the kill here? The Soul Rip is enough to keep Wince alive for another moment. We hear a jump as 007 tries to jump on double Frosting Cake, but the only casualty so far is Luna, and now Bareth is killed. As they turn it around yet again, Frosting Cake pops back out of base. Nova goes ahead, uses his BKB, jumps on top of Frosting Cake, hits him with a Shadow Strike, and hits him with that Scream, and down he goes. Nova doing work in their base, now going to TP out of there and head back home. He's only 875 away from finishing off a Sheep early on in this game. We're at 26 minutes, and wow, a tier 3 loss in the middle lane that early. Perhaps a little bit of over-aggression. They let Fangirl walk in and just get a free black hole. I mean, their reaction times were very slow on that, and that's probably the only criticism I have of them thus far in this whole tournament. I mean, or not the whole tournament, of course they lost what happened, but in this match at least, that was really well played by Enigma, not so much by Juan. Nonetheless, it didn't go as poorly as it could have. Luna now has completed up Manta style, even after the death. And, I mean, the game is just entirely in control for Juan, as they're over 15,000 gold in their favor. We'll see once again, grouping up towards the middle lane. Faceless Void has an ultimate available, as does Queen of Pain. So that huge combo that absolutely tore apart the Dire team. What happened before, it could very well happen again in a moment, and they're going to go ahead and try and force a fight here at Roshan. So they're going to let Luna tank it because she has the regen, or the lifesteal rather. I'm not sure, they don't have any vision that would indicate them knowing that they're at Roche. Their spider senses might kick in and let them know, and there's the ping. So they know one way or another, they figured it out. Roche dropping pretty quickly, though. The question is, can they respond properly? An illusion of Nova is actually making its way out to slow them down. And, in fact, Roche is dead. It's too late. Roche is dead. BKB is completed, as we saw in the last fight in 007. He's looking for an ultimate, but it's not there, so he doesn't force it. Instead, he's taking some chip downs here and there. Sonic Wave flies off. It's enough to finish off the Enigma right off the bat, and now there's the ultimate. Bounty Hunter gets caught. He's down. John the Ninja is the next target, being focused down by all the heroes of the Radiant team, and down he goes. 3 heroes dead. This may be it. And they're going to go ahead and march towards the Rax. Thank you for correcting my pronunciation. I say miso soup and miso soap, so it's just the way it looks like. Sorry. I apologize, and I'll correct that from this point forward. And, I mean, Want just played near perfect effort. Take down the barracks in the middle and move towards the bottom lane, maybe, as the tier 2 is down there, so it's available for the taking. Sheep used onto Baroth. Baroth going to be hit by another attack. Frost and Cake going to be the next target. They jump on him, but instead they'll back off. 007 actually going to turn around and just man up on him. He does have a Chrysalis on him now as well. Black Hole popped. Fangirl just catches Winston. She's all by herself, and as such she will drop promptly thereafter. Eclipse is used. Lone Druid does pick up a kill on Undying, but Enigma goes down to Miso Soup, and John the Ninja now under the tower. 007 jumps out to try and take down Richard first. Richard going to try and TP out of there, but nice timely crit will finish him off. And that's a full team wipe yet again. Jakiro actually alive, maybe respawned in the duration of the fight. I forget, but this will be another Rax for them. And Nova jumps in right on top of Jakiro, and it's enough to take him down. Things just aren't going your way for your support for this What Happened team. As we could see, 8 deaths, 0-8 for Jakiro, only 2 assists. GG called, and that's going to be it for the first game of the grand finals of the Dota 2 Canadian tournament. Dota2.ca, and the sponsors, organizers of this tournament. Shout out to everyone who's involved in making it happen. And thank you guys for watching. I'm NYJohn. I hope you enjoyed the cast. If you like me, you can follow me here on Twitch as well as check me out on Twitter. I'm just trying to build a Twitter following. It's much more difficult than I ever would have anticipated. And at NYJohnTV is my Twitter handle. So be sure to follow me there for more content. I cast fairly often. And there's my shameless self-promotion. Nice ultimate use by Faceless Void to stop Nova from dominating. Nova ends up 13-1. So we'll take a look at this final score sheet before we leave the game. So Nova ends up 13-1-10, 546 gold per minute. Only behind the Faceless Void, who has 578 gold per minute on pretty much free farm in the bottom lane. He ended up with 0 deaths. Really strong effort. Luna drops 4 times, but she's the majority of the deaths for her team. And they're A-okay with that, with the way things were going. So Juan take a decisive victory in Game 1. We'll move on to Game 2 momentarily, I assume. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoyed the broadcast.